What's up, everybody? I say that at the beginning of every video, don't I? I guess that sounds a little bit, I don't know the word for it, maybe egotistical. What's up, everybody, as if everybody's watching or something, but my subscribers are not everybody, that's for sure. I have a different way of conveying things, and sometimes I seem like maybe, I can only perceive myself through my own eyes. And I do have a secondary, third-party observation of myself, which a lot of people who have gotten into Eastern mysticism and started researching the idea of the self as being a separate entity, you've learned to observe yourself and watch yourself in action, which is what I do. But I've spoken with a lot of folks who don't know what I mean when I say that. So it's a matter of stepping outside, and right now having a separate me outside of myself, watching what I'm doing right now and utilizing that to better myself. So when I say something stupid or I feel like I'm being an idiot, I know that. So if I say something that sounds egotistical, I just kind of laugh at myself. Now, laughing off the details is very important. Being who you are is very important. Striving to be better is very important. If we don't like who we are, I'm not sure what to say about that. There was something that came to me the other day, and this was, I guess something I have to share. I was in the middle of a psychedelic experience with a couple of other people. I'm not sure what they were processing, but at least one of my friends was processing some stuff in his life that he had going on and doing some deep thinking about it. I take psychedelics maybe a few times a year. Lately it's been more because I've been doing some soul searching, I guess, but I finally really sat, hey squirrel running down the fence. I had some realization that lately that while I take psychedelics for medicine, I don't really like to use that term, and I heard someone else say this too. Medicine implies there's something wrong with you, that you need help or that you have a sickness. Psychedelics are not medicine, they're tools for enhancing your awareness. And when a person hasn't taken psychedelics before, they often see things about themselves that they're not quite ready to see. And sometimes this helps them to want to be better people. Sometimes this scares the hell out of them and they never want to touch these things again. For me, it helped me to process who I was and be acceptant of it. Yet, what I've realized over the years is that I'm no longer processing those other things. That I'm still working out things to better myself and be myself. Very specific details that I'm looking to improve. But I'm on another trek, a different journey as far as seeking awareness from my experiences. But I'm not sitting there during my experience dwelling on all the problems that I have or personal issues. My experiences is during taking mushrooms or LSD separate me from my problems. I've realized years ago to set my problems aside and realize that that's a very pitiful thing to work on during such an intense awakening. A psychedelic experience is, it can be compared to a satori or an awakening. It truly does open these doors of perception and allow you to see things in a new light that can take 10, 20 years for people to attain. The thing is, when the experience is over, that awareness leaves. To carry that on, you have to practice the raw form of whatever it may be, yoga or some sort of a religious practice or whatever works for you to attain that as a long-term thing. I have found that by opening these doors, it gives you a glimpse of something you want to change and do better. So it's a way of saying, hey, this is what's possible. Here's the potential. But while you're in there, you don't have to just catch a glimpse. You can utilize these tools and reach out and grab these ideas and say, okay, I can see this is going on in the world. I can see that politicians are nothing more than humans with suits on, and we give them all the power. These are the realizations that have brought me to be such an kind of anti-conspiratorial guy. That the reason why I'm so, why I say don't give the Illuminati power, don't give these secret societies more power than they have, because it's an illusion that we've created in our own minds. And I've seen that in those psychedelic experiences. Those barriers come down, and you realize that all fences, all borders, all maps are drawn by man, and none of it means a thing unless we give it credibility. So over time, we'll see. It's the best I can explain it. I'd like to say that the world has a chance to improve, and I have faith in at least one thing, that nature will work itself out. It always does. And life is kind of the default mode of existence. Life wants to exist. It wants to exist. It's not something that's just delicate, fragile. Life is not fragile. Life is a default. It's a program, it's a signal that's sent out completely to create new beings and alter DNA, and we see it in front of us. We don't have to deny it. So find your solace in whatever works for you, and if psychedelics are your thing, I guess this video wasn't really intended to be about psychedelics so much as just seeing ourselves. And that's a tool to help me see myself, because once I've seen myself, then I can start seeing the world's problems. And I feel like helpless at times, but I've met so many people that I can stand with and say, we both disagree, but we can respect each other. Or we both agree, but we can discuss what if we're both wrong. I want to finish by saying that there's something. I looked up and it was 7:19 on the timer there. I've just found one thing, I guess, that your ultimate truth comes from within. No man can teach you what is important. It has to be felt. But without help of man, without the help of one another, we're never going to get anywhere. A single man cannot sit back and create his own reality without suffering the consequences when he tries to incorporate that into the society around him. Therefore, a man may step back and say, I don't need society, and that's very well and fine, except we are creatures of love. We are codependent creatures, no matter how much we try to deny it, or may want to think that we're, by ourselves. We're just not. We need people. We need each other. And for those who want to see a better world, seeing a better self and making yourself a better person is the most important component of that. Because by acting on the things that you see around you that may be a problem, you're able to bring forth something more, something greater than if you sit on the internet and complain about the Illuminati. I'm honest in the sense that I could do more. I try to take action. I try to pick up garbage. I try to speak out. I've heard a lot of people who have torn me down about my opinions on things by saying, oh, you're just asleep and you need to help wake people up, and then I'll go to their channel and all they talk about is motorcycle racing or something, and I'm just like, these are people who like to go from video to video and talk about how important these things are, but really don't speak out or do anything about it. It's always tyranny, tyranny, tyranny. And how that comes full circle with seeing the self is I've realized that most of the tyranny that we see comes from within. It's a reflection of our own distrust. Because if we truly believe that people are out to harm us, it can protect us, but it can also harm us by just believing that. Because the amount of people that want to harm us are very small in comparison to those who just want to live alone. And what we've done is built a block, a resistance to others, even our neighbors, to separate by what kind of car we drive, or what sports team we like, or who the sign is in our front yard that we're going to vote for, what religion we have, what holiday we celebrate. And those who keep us divided don't need to keep us divided. We do it ourselves. And this realization has brought me full circle in my life to see this whole pattern of blame and then a creation through this blame of our own reality and manifesting this fear that people buy into. And I'd like to say that people aren't fearful. And a lot of people say, I'm not fearful, I'm just aware, or I'm just awake, but being distracted by everything that's going on around you pulls you away from things you might be able to actually change. And for each one of us, that's going to be something different. I'd like to think that of the 3,000 or so videos I've made on YouTube, I've at least impacted a couple of lives in a way that was positive. Yet at the same time, I'm not egotistical enough to say what I'm presenting here in my videos is something that people need to know. I'm not a truther, is what I'm saying. I'm not here to tell you what's right and what's wrong or how to live your life. If you're a go-getter and you want to attack and work on the Illuminati angle, go right ahead. The idea is not to knock each other on what we research. The idea is just to be honest with ourselves and look at ourselves from the outside. Watch ourselves, you know. It's a fascinating world to live in. I'm not sure what else to say about it. The way that everything is perfect is a perception thing. If you want to see the world as perfect, that is in the eye of the beholder. And when I look around me and I see the seeds, I see my garden, I see the trees, I see the combination, I see the roots, the way that everything flows and the rain patterns. To me, it's just it's an ever complex system which becomes more and more complex, yet retains its ability to function, in other words. You know, if one part of the system goes wrong, everything collapses. The ecosystem can just fall into disarray by the loss of one small insect or animal. But it continues to thrive and function, and it's an amazing thing to me. I think that we don't give enough credit to just letting things flow and seeing what happens. The only problem with this is that if we just let things flow, then people are always going to take advantage, and this is how we get this problem, this circulating problem of those in charge, the conspiracies, the Illuminati idea that everything we do is being monitored, and fear sets in. And I live my life so much happier without fear, but not just fear, but without anger. That's a key component. Having anger towards groups that you can't see, things you can't see, becomes just like shaking your fist at God, just as futile. So, I guess I'm going to wrap this up now. And thanks for coming along. I'm honored to have people who who care enough to listen to my ramblings without, you know, and being honest with me and sharing opinions, because that's what this is all about. And it's an exchange of information. For what end, I'm not sure. What are we trying to figure out? You know, that's for you to determine. Whatever your goal is, whatever your purpose is here on YouTube, or whatever you're trying to find in your life, is purely yours. And I would never tell a person what that should be. And it's good to see a lot of other people that are just explaining themselves without trying to prove anything.